Jones on reclaiming his place amongst the greatest fighters in the sport tonight. Bob Mee, initial thoughts?
Well, I think a lot of this depends on Ajamu's ability to handle the occasion. It reminds me to some extent of Danny Williams against Mike Tyson. Danny Williams, he wasn't supposed to win that. Tyson, well, yes, he was towards the end of his career, but before the fight, not many people thought Danny would cope. He did cope. He coped at every single stage, and that's what Ajamu's got to do. He's just got to handle the occasion, and the first time Jones comes out of the corner, he's not got to freeze.
Worth noting, by the way, at this stage that Roy Jones is now 37 years of age. His opponent is 34, and Jones on his way to the ring. So a packed arena here. 6,000 people have turned up to see Roy Jones. I have to say it's a fraction of what he used to draw. But this is the first stage of what could be a remarkable comeback for the, well, he's also enigmatic, isn't he, Bob?
Well, he is. You can't help watching him, or at least I can't. I mean, he's egotistical. Some would have him as delusional at the moment, but he's still got enough left. Some say he's in denial. He even blamed his father for his last defeat over Antonio Tarver, which was stretching their bad relationship to its limits, I would imagine. He says Tarver got a lucky punch when he knocked him out. I mean, people are questioning his sense of proportion these days. But, still looks the part, and even if he's 40% of his old self, he's still worth watching.
That's right, so much expectation, of course, surrounding Roy Jones. And I can't forget that magic night. Here's the tail of the tape. 37 years of age against 34. Well, as you see, Ajamu an inch taller. They've got the same reach, and they weigh just about the same. Yes, I can't forget the night that Roy Jones completely dominated James Toney in a middleweight title fight. And here are the rules: no 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count, only the referee can stop the fight. It goes to the scorecards after 4 rounds in the event of injury, and you can't be saved by the bell in any round. So we have 12 rounds of action potentially in front of us here. There is a small bauble attached to this, by the way. It's the North American Boxing Organization light heavyweight title, which is the American arm of the WBO. Just to clarify that and get it out of the way.
Yeah, but Jones respects it because he's allowed Ajamu the honour of coming in second, which is, you know, given Jones's ego and the belief that he's the star of the show, which is perfectly justified, that's a little bit of a surprise that he's put the title in there with such significance. We certainly haven't. North American Boxing Organisation, sponsored by the WBO. You know.
When was the last time you saw Roy Jones as a philanthropist?
Yeah, it's a new one, but Jones is never predictable.
So there he is, there's Prince Badi Ajamu, 34 years of age. You know, he's not one of these guys who's been there, done it, and regardless of what Bob said earlier, I personally feel that Ajamu has been handpicked for this. They would have looked and scoured hard to find the right kind of title holder to take on.
Yeah, they had to find somebody who was competent, certainly, but I'm not sure that they know quite, you know, the extent of how good this guy is. They will have seen tapes, but what they don't know is what he's capable of doing to the Roy Jones of today. They'll have seen the tapes and realised that he couldn't have hit Roy Jones in his prime, and that's not overtaxing the brain to know that. But Ajamu was impressed in sparring with Antonio Tarver last year, which is why he was picked up by the promotional group down there. Sparred with Bernard Hopkins. He's got his old trainer Denny Brown with him, but also Buddy McGirt's been in there refining the technique. So this is a serious operator, a man who's come here at least with the intent of causing an upset.
Yes, never forget, of course, he's up against a man who's lost his last 3 fights. fights, as Bob has said. He hasn't won since 2003. That was over Antonio Tarver, of course. But of course, prior to that, he did step up to heavyweight and beat John Ruiz, the first man since 1897, and Bob Fitzsimmons to achieve that particular feat.
Yeah, and Ajamu knows exactly what he's got to do. He knows he can't stand off and allow Jones, as he put it, to pot shot him to death. He can't allow the fight to go to Jones's pace. Whether he's capable of doing that, I don't know.
From the Quest Arena here in Boise, Idaho, it is time for Zions's World Class Championship Boxing main event of the evening. 12 rounds for the NABO Light Heavyweight Championship. This bout is brought to you by Zions Extreme Supplements for the Extreme Athlete. Sanctioned by the Idaho State Athletic Commission, Commissioner Tom Katsoulias, and North Idaho Commissioner Jim Grove. NABO Supervisor in attendance this evening, Rudy Paz. The Deputy Commissioner from the Commission, Jim Stone and Dan Huff. And tonight's ringside physicians are Dr. Gerald Carlson and Ray Hoofs. Your timekeeper in charge of the belt and counting for knockdowns, Connie Goins and Craig Lyle. Your three judges scoring this bout on the 10-point must system are Levi Martinez, Lynn Carter, and George Lazaris. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action from Boise, Idaho, Jerry Armstrong. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready and the fighters are ready. For the global audience of millions watching around the world, Boise, Idaho, make some noise! Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner, weighing in at 175 pounds even tonight, he wears green trunks. Arguably the greatest pound-for-pound boxer in the history of the sweet science. He's compiled a remarkable professional record, 49 victories, including 38 wins coming by way of knockout, just 4 defeats. The pride of Pensacola, Florida. Here is the 5-time world champion, Roy Jones Jr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, weighing in at 174.5 pounds, and tonight wears silver trunks trimmed in black. His professional record entering the ring tonight, excellent with 25 victories, including 14 wins by way of knockout, just 2 defeats, and 1 bout even. Tonight, he defends his NABO title, ladies and gentlemen. From Camden, New Jersey, here is the boxing prince, Badi Aджаму.
So there you are then, the scene is set. Thank you to Joe Martinez, our MC, Roy Jones Jr. A manic egotist in action here against Prince Badi Aджаму, who, well, could make a real name for himself.
Obey my instructions at all times.
Referee Jerry Armstrong, a local man from Boise, Idaho.
Like this is good.
Experienced referee, by the way.
Okay, down below, no good. Okay.
And Jones has had
guys. Let's have a great
almost twice as many wins as Aджаму so far in his career.
Yeah, and Aджаму was having nothing to do with looking at Jones, or you know, you can take that both either way. We don't know yet how he is. He looks very nervous to me, very tense. This is the biggest stage of his life. How's he going to cope with it?
Biggest fight, by the way, in my opinion, for Boise, Idaho, and certainly the biggest fight I think they've ever entertained here, Bob.
Yeah, they've had 1 world title fight with Vasily Yerov a few years ago, but that's not on this level. It's not Roy Jones Jr., is it?
What is? Anyway, Jones looking relaxed to start this. He's looking quick. He looks in great shape. He did actually confess earlier that he does have a problem making light heavyweight. He reckons he's naturally fat as Aджаму goes to work in with both hands to the body.
And this is what Ajamu said he was going to do, give him no rest.
Oh, he's got him. Well, Ajamu there got through with a lovely left hand, and Jones all over the place here in the first round. Well, success breeds success in this game like in no other. It's absolutely instant. Now, can Jones get through this rough opening patch? Ajamu once again bangs them in, and Jones can't afford to lose this, Bob Kelly.
Oh, absolutely not. This is a bad start for him. I mean, I don't know whether Ajamu's fighting out of fear or not, but he's charged in and he's had some success, and he's pretty soon got some confidence, I would imagine. His right hands have been getting through. This is exactly what he planned to do. I didn't know whether he could carry it out. And, you know, there's a long way to go, 12 rounds, and Jones is okay. He's not hurt, but he's just taken out of his stride. His pride's ruffled, isn't it?
Indeed, but I've got to say, it has been alarming. When you see Jones go, he goes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was out cold against Tarver and badly knocked out again against Glenn Johnson.
And Johnson, of course, has not got a puncher's reputation. Tarver obviously has.
Jamu's the sort of guy who's been stopping fights late. He's been wearing people down, not taking them out with one shot. But he's done nothing wrong whatsoever in this opening round, and a lot right.
But don't forget, of course, he's got a massive talent to contend with here. And Jones so far is still there. You know, let's not forget that. Roy Jones is still there. He may be under pressure, but he has come back with a couple of neat body punches. Doesn't look too perturbed at the moment. And Jones, of course, has the kind of power and speed that can take you out in a split second. Of course, the genie's out of the bottle, Bob, isn't it? As soon as a man of Jones's stature gets beaten, people know how to do it.
Yeah, Jones was all about reflex. At his brilliant best, you just couldn't hit him. Now he's very hittable. But Ajamu, over the second half of the first round, has been getting into close range, but not throwing the punches that he did in the first half of the round. But a successful start for him, and Jones probably a little bit surprised by that, a little bit taken out of his stride.
Okay, gotta settle down.
So first round then does go Ajamu's way, whether you expected it or not.
Okay, you gotta go back to that body, baby.
But we do have potentially, of course, 12 rounds in front of us here.
But you gotta keep the heat on.
And Jones made a poor start.
3 and 4 jabs. Listen to me. 3 and 4 jabs.
Okay? The jab ain't gonna work in these early rounds. If he come on you, just make sure you keep landing them body shots. Touch him light to the head, then go to the body strong.
Bit of replay here then. This is the moment when Jones came under intense pressure from Ajamu. So round 2 of a scheduled 12, and in those resplendent green chunks from Pensacola in Florida, Roy Jones Jr.
Now, an interesting, Alton Murkison told Jones the jab isn't going to work. Use the body shots. It's almost as if they know the legs aren't there for him to use his speed anymore.
And the simple fact is that Ajamu is spurning that jab. What jab there is of Roy Jones, he's just getting close and sticking on top.
Yeah, he's boxing to instruction. He keeps looking to his corner. He's thinking about what he's doing, and so far he's settled very, very well.
And for the record, by the way, Ajamu reads 25 wins, 14 inside, just 2 losses, both on points, and 1 draw in 28 outings. Roy Jones, of course, he's won 49, 38 inside. He's lost 4 in 53 outings. So almost twice as much experience for Roy Jones at a level that is hard to believe. And don't forget, won world titles at 4 different weights, from middle through to heavyweight inclusive. And Ajamu has no respect for reputations.
Jones at the moment just throwing single punches, and that's no good against a guy who's going to come marauding forward like this. Buddy McGirt in the corner told Ajamu he must throw the jab first and then walk in after it and put the pressure on. And he's going to put Jones under pressure if Jones will only throw single punches.
Well, you saw Ajamu there look at his corner at Buddy McGirt to get some advice.
Let's go.
I've got to say, Roy Jones is probably the most arrogant fighter I've ever come across. He played basketball on the occasion of one of his world title fights. Was that against? Oh, I can't remember who it was against.
Eric Luca.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's still playing basketball now, semi-pro stuff.
And Roy Jones needs to settle down here, but Ajamu won't let him.
Break your tie. Let's go. Back up. Let's go, guys.
That's lethargic stuff from Jones, isn't it? Just working the body, and that's a little bit better. The first combinations of any note.
Well, Ajamu from Camden in New Jersey, where they breed them tough.
Break your tie. Go. Back up. Come on. Take a step
Yeah, and
Quite one of my favourite fights is from, isn't it? Quite Braxton.
yeah, and Jersey Joe Walcott as well, years and years ago. But he's grown up in the Philadelphia gyms,
How you feeling?
and he's fighting like a
Okay,
Philadelphia
you got good
fighter, isn't he? He's come out of the Blue Horizon Club, where you have to be able to fight to be asked back.
You're not wrong, Bob.
That's all you got to do now, because he's coming.
Well, there's the
Don't move straight back,
well,
though.
the man who he
Okay,
was the
don't move
man,
straight back when you
looking
move
for
back.
his first win in 3 years. I never thought I'd ever hear myself say that about Roy Jones. He was such a supreme athlete, wasn't he?
He was, and he's pinching points there. It's not quite sad yet, but it's got the makings, hasn't it? He's not himself, and it's a little bit worrying.
Go through the hands, hit him.
Well, I've gone for Ajamu in the first couple of rounds, Bob. I suspect you have as well.
Yeah, I have. I thought that was closer because Jones had some good flurries, but overall, over the 3 minutes, he was outworked again. He's not taking too many, but he is taking punches that he shouldn't be taking, really.
So into round 3 we go, and Roy Jones, well, you know, I mean, all of the platitudes that we've uttered, both tonight
Break your tie. Let's go.
and previously,
Take a step back then.
well, they don't really bear repeating, because this is a new Roy Jones. He's up against a new threat here, and really the threat is, if he doesn't win this one, it's gloves up. What's your thought on that, Bob?
Well, yeah, if he loses this, he should stop, but some felt he should have stopped after Glenn Johnson beat him.
Come on, get those hands loose.
He seems to be showing a lot of bravado and saying, mind your own business, I don't mind losing a few times, I love the business, but that seems a little bit crazy to me. He's pot-shotting, he's picking points here, he's not taking too many shots, as he just took a right hand, but he rode it well enough. It's within him to win this, but it's hard work at the moment, and he needs to get this man Ajamu under control soon, or it's going to get terribly difficult for him.
Well, the one thing, of course, I remember about Roy Jones, not only was his incredibly fast hands a great punch, he had wonderful dexterous feet. He was all over the place. You just couldn't hit him. You couldn't hit him with a bucket of water, really. But I think there's a bit of that creeping back now to Jones, don't you, Bob?
Yeah, Jones is picking up points on the move much better in this round. But, that's all it is. He's getting pushed around physically. He's got to win the difficult way at the moment.
Ajamu's never been stopped so far as a professional. I remember back to Roy Jones' first defeat by disqualification against Montel Griffin. He had the arrogance just to stand there when he knew Griffin was on his knees. He had the arrogance to stand there and clout him with a big punch. I know Griffin made the most of it. It did lead to Jones' disqualification defeat. Nice bit of work there for Roy Jones. Having a good round at the moment here, Bob.
Yeah, he is. Ajamu's not put the same kind of pressure on. He's eased off now. The intensity seems to have gone as he's settled down into the fight. And it is not nearly so effective here, and Jones is able to find the space and the room to get his punches off at least a little bit better. And there's blood in the mouth of Ajamu as well.
You got to step back. You got to step back when I say break. You're hanging on.
And it's Roy Jones, the man everybody loves to hate.
Tired of having to break these guys up.
A lot of people do, don't they? But it's a controversial career. But he won that round for me.
Indeed he did, but he's still a point behind for us at 29 to 28.
Listen to me, baby. You letting him back into
And
this
Ajamu,
fight.
as you saw,
Okay?
finished
You
that
letting him
round
back
with a
into
bloody
the fight.
mouth.
Don't go for his bull crap. You understand me?
Let's listen to Buddy.
Go out there and jump on him, make him fight. You gotta make him fight. Okay, you stand there taking too many shots. No good. Okay, stop taking those shots. You gotta punch when he punch. You let him get his confidence. Okay?
Yeah, it's good listening to Buddy McGirt, isn't it? He picked that straight away, as he should, but his advice is always good and sound and solid. A little flicker of a smile from Jones there as he thought, yeah, it's changing, I remember this.
You're absolutely right, and well, it was kind of Jones improving his performance in round 3 and Ajamu's performance dropping off.
Got some more over
And
here.
led to Jones winning his first round.
Okay. Time. Just sec. Back.
Here we go then, this is round 4. We've already had a
Watch the
dozen
walk.
seconds
Okay,
and there's
let's
nothing
go.
happened yet.
Time.
Well, time in.
Keep it nice, guys. Keep it nice.
And, you know, Roy Jones has got such arrogance, Bob. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if he says later on, hey, you know, I just thought I'd see what this kid had got before I took him apart. You know what he's like.
Oh yeah, he may well do that. He's okay. I've never found Jones a problem personally. He's always been polite and reasonable. He's just a strange mix. And you know, there's still the steroid controversy of what 5-6 years ago when he failed a steroid. He tested positive for a steroid in Indianapolis. The whole thing was pushed under the carpet because the local commission had no rules about that kind of thing. And some people, you know, went off him at that point, and I understand that. But a strange man who's done things his own way throughout his career.
And he's worth an absolute fortune, by the way. He doesn't need to fight. He's not doing this for the money. He's doing it for the glory, the legacy.
That's also strange because this isn't his legacy. His legacy is cemented long ago. Beating Prince Badi Ajamu at the age of 37 isn't his legacy. It's a strange. Maybe he just wants to get out of there without having 3 straight defeats on his record for history. But that's about all I can see as far as legacy goes.
Well, what I'd like to see, Bob, is Joe Calzaghe come up to light heavyweight and mix it with Jones.
Yeah, it's possible, but
Break your tie. Let's go.
I'm not sure I want to see too many more Jones performances. There's nothing wrong with seeing Jones Calzaghe now. I just feel that would have happened by now if it was going to. Maybe not. Maybe it can be done.
Break the tie. Let's go.
Well, there's not much between them here, is there, in this 4th round? Jones is doing a lot of backpedaling here. Ajamu trying to come forward. Jones slightly more precise.
Yeah, I think the quality's coming, as it should come from Roy Jones. Ajamu's giving him too much respect again. He's not able to do what he was able to do early on. He's not throwing the jabs and then marauding forward. He's waiting too long.
Stop. That was low. That was definitely low. That's a warning, okay?
Well, leaning on there, a warning to Ajamu from referee Jerry Armstrong.
I think there's a low punch in there as well.
Work, baby.
Yeah, he was asking Jones if he's all right.
Yep, good boxing round this, good reflexes from Roy Jones, good speed. Footwork is almost non-existent.
Yeah, and Ajamu used the head inside there that Jones fortunately saw coming and turned and grinned.
Well, that's obviously a sign of frustration here for Ajamu, and might get himself in more bother.
Break. I said break. You stop punching. Okay.
another sign.
Roy, in the clinches, you got to stop clinching. You got to punch in there. Work. You got to punch inside. Stop.
Well, good round there again for Roy Jones. That's leveled things up for me. Bob, you as well?
Yeah, certainly.
38 points apiece. It's worth telling you, by the way, just reminding you of some of the great nights that Roy Jones has had. He did beat John Ruiz for the heavyweight title, the WBA version. He beat Clinton Woods, of course, and that was for so many titles I haven't got the time to tell you. He had a great win over Glenn Kelly.
Champ, when you sit down on the
Other good men he's beaten Reggie Johnson. That's going back a bit further. Otis Grant, a man who, by the way, has actually beaten Ajamu, one of two men. He beat Virgil Hill on a 4th round knockout. He beat Montel Griffin, of course, in the return. He beat Mike McCallum, Vinny Pazienza, James Toney, Thomas Tate. Great names. Bernard Hopkins.
Let's pull.
That was a very low punch in that exchange from Ajamu. The referee's right to pick him up about it.
Bang inside or get off the rope. Work.
But he's trying what he knows to get close and throw Jones out of his stride. Here he goes charging again. This is what he did early on.
It's what he has to do, isn't it, mate?
You cannot measure with that. You got to either be jabbing or hooking.
Well,
you
that's
be
interesting.
Or hooking. So don't just hold that out. Yeah.
When did that rule come in, Bob, about you're not allowed to extend one of your arms?
It's not in any rule book I know, but maybe Idaho's got a different one. I don't know. Jones was as puzzled as us. He just stood up and asked why.
Well, I'm sure Ajamu would prefer it to be a rangefinder rather than sticking in his face, as referee Armstrong suggested.
I'm sure he would. Remember that years ago when the old British referee Teddy Walton told Muhammad Ali to close his gloves against Carl Mildenberger.
And Mildenberger said, thank you very much.
Yeah. He said, what, like this, and knocked him down.
I remember Ibar Arrington being told by referee to close his gloves before John L. Gardner. The very next punch he landed on John's chin sadly knocked him out.
I think the referee
Harry
was
Gibbs,
being
I think
busy.
it was.
Yep. Jones is he's cool about everything, but I think he's a little bit frustrated and irritated by the referee then. But again, he's found the space when he's mattered here. I think the quality punches are beginning to come again from him after Ajamu's early charge.
So past the halfway point then in round 5 of the scheduled 12. Live, of course, from Boise, Idaho. Right uppercut there from Ajamu. Jones smiles and goes marching off. And don't forget, Ajamu has never been stopped as a professional fighter.
Stop punching.
Jones might be the first to do it.
Stop punching. You grabbed him and charged him. Stop
Now he's putting on his show for the crowd, enjoying himself, but he really needs to concentrate as well. I know that this is Roy Jones. He does
I think
things
you're talking about the
differently.
referee then.
Yeah, he needs to concentrate too, but he's
Break your tie. Let's
no,
go.
he's got a job to do, and he's trying to do it to the best of his ability. And there's a lot of clinching up inside. And, but Jones is it's not vintage. It never will be again. But it's enough to win this round.
And Roy Jones there asking for trouble, raising his arms above his head like that, because Ajamu is perfectly liberty to crack him if he gets the opportunity. The first rule of boxing is defend yourself at all times.
Come on, bang out. Bang out. Break your tie. Let's go. Stop punching. Let's go. Stop punching. You're holding
And with
back
respect to
there,
Ajamu, there was a time when he wouldn't get anywhere near Roy Jones.
Stop.
Well, a good round there for Jones. He did all the work that was necessary. Ajamu sadly plodded forward and got nothing done. Forgive me for talking for you, Bob, but I hope I am.
Take deep breath.
Yeah, no, that was Jones doing enough to win the round and beginning to find the space. When he's under pressure, he's under pressure, but he's cool enough to let Ajamu just come in and race in, and they clinch and spoil, and then he gets a bit more space and he does what's necessary. Ajamu's doing nothing on the inside there at all.
up, man, so we'll be ready
So
to
just
get
one
out
of the arm-raising moments there from Roy Jones.
Good work.
It's unprofessional.
Good work, baby. Keep it up.
Yeah, but the crowd here have come to see a show. They've come to see a boxing legend, and he wasn't under any particular pressure at the time. Ajamu was
Come on, guys, let's see
breaking
a
from the
fight,
clinch,
okay?
and yeah, it's just
Keep
about
rolling.
okay, I think.
I agree. Round 6 then. And could it be, Bob? You know, it's not the money, it's not the glory. He's already cemented his reputation. Is it just the buzz?
Well, yeah, so many fighters go on too long, it must be the buzz. I mean, Ray Leonard did it, Ali, Duran, Ray Robinson went on for years when he really, you know, was way past his best. Look at Evander Holyfield now. What makes these people do it? There's no easy answer. But I wouldn't have expected Roy Jones to go on. He really was one fighter I thought would have got out at the right time. A lot of people thought that after he beat John Ruiz, that would be it. Maybe it should have been. But he's winning this at the moment.
Well, there you are, 49-46 for our American colleagues. We've got it slightly closer, 48-47. That's because we're better judges.
Come on, guys.
The second round was close, wasn't it? It's about opinions, and yeah, I can see anyone scoring it that way.
That's absolutely right.
Right, let's step back.
Well, Roy Jones has got some terrific speed still left in that body of his, even at 37 years of age, and he does pick a good punch, doesn't he, Bob?
Yep, sure, he's been doing it for so long, he knows exactly what's happening in front of him, and now Ajamu's less effective, less able to throw the punches that got him the first round, certainly. Jones is enjoying it a little bit more.
And by the way, the row with his father has been going on for quite some time. In fact, ever since he was a kid. They had a very tough upbringing. And by the way, I remember someone once asking Marvellous Marvin Hagler how he'd get on if he fought Roy Jones. He said, hey, I already beat his daddy. You may remember that Marvin Hagler beat Roy Jones Sr. some moons ago.
Take a step back. Unbreak.
Another odd thing about Roy Jones, by the way, as we have another break, is that he breeds fighting cocks. You may already know that, but in case you don't, he does. Nice bit of work there again from Roy Jones. Ajamu's a stubborn foe, isn't he?
Yeah, he's game, he's trying, he's doing what he said he would do in terms of tactics. They're not successful at the moment, but he's more than surviving in there, isn't he? He's putting what pressure he can on Jones, he's making him work, and he's hoping that his strength and stamina will pay off in the second half of the fight. Who knows, he might be right.
Second warning there for referee Armstrong against Ajamu for leaning on. And that's another round for Jones, I suspect. Well, could Ajamu's chance have come and gone in round 1, Bob?
Yeah, it could have done easily, but he startled Jones at the start, and yeah, he needs something else. He needs to find something. He needs to hope that Jones begins to tire.
Okay, long as you got him, okay.
Yeah, no particular reason that he should. He looks fresh enough, he looks clear, but Ajamu's not doing a bad job at of carrying out his tactics.
Okay, listen,
He's just got to hope for a little bit more success.
You got to shoot the right hand. You letting them get off too many shots because you're smothering yourself.
And again, McGirt's
Don't
right.
wrestle
He's
with
got to
him,
throw
punch.
more right hands.
Okay? You're wasting energy wrestling with him. Punch. Don't look.
Easier said than done, of course, against Roy Jones.
Yeah, sure, because he's worried about the left hook counter.
Here we go then, this is round 7. The halfway point, 6 gone, 6 to go. And they've flown by, Bob, haven't they?
Yeah, it's watchable, and you know, it's okay. It's a level lower than we're used to seeing Roy Jones operate at, so that explains some of it. But I was concerned before the fight that I was going to watch something that was very sad indeed, and at the moment it's not. Jones is well able to handle this, and he's in good enough shape to do it at the moment.
He's been a pleasant surprise, hasn't he?
Yes, I mean, nobody would expect him to be what he was 6-7 years ago, because we're realists, we know it's not there, but there's still plenty to watch and like about him. Another low shot on the inside from Ajamu.
Roy, over
He's going to get a point off here.
Could well be.
1 point.
Indeed he has. He's
1
lost a
point.
point there for a low
1
blow.
point. Prince. Over there.
That's all he needed, isn't it?
Okay.
Well, now he's skirting around the realms of disqualification, isn't he?
Baby.
Well, that's a way off yet, but it's just getting further and further adrift for him. And he's just got to find a way to slow Jones down and tire him out, because he isn't going to outwork him in terms of claiming enough points. He's just got to slow him down and hope that he can pull off a miracle in the last couple of rounds.
And Jones looks like he's got a lot of self-belief here. He's always had an awful lot of cocky arrogance about him, but he's got this self-belief. He doesn't think he can get hit with a punch sufficient to take him out.
Break, you're tied, let's go. Take a step back, buddy. Prince. Step back. Work.
Well, he's a tough man, Ajamu. He's taking everything well, Bob, isn't he?
He is tough. He's tough and strong, but he came from a tough school.
Another low blow.
Now what's
Another
another
low blow.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Another low
2
blow.
points in this round. He's a mile behind now.
Come on, Prince. You're hitting low. Let's go. Boston.
And Jones didn't really make the most of that, did he, Bob?
No, I didn't actually catch that one, and Jones certainly wasn't bothered about it, so I think the referee may be a little harsh on him.
Break, you're tied, let's go.
It does, of course, mean now that Ajamu, however you look at it,
Go, Roy.
is looking at a knockout to win this.
And he's looking immensely frustrated, which is understandable. He's just trying to rough Jones up and take him out of his rhythm. And all right, there've been some careless blows, and one low blow early on was bad, but he's not done anything to merit disqualification yet. And now you're right, he's getting closer to it.
Well, one more infringement, Bob, and I think he's out. 2 points off. You rarely get more than 3 opportunities, do you?
Go, let's work.
Normally it's 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah, and he's tired and frustrated now. Ajamu has lost his way a little bit in this round, and that's understandable.
But he's also a 10-7 round.
Talk to me. Can't breathe. Sit down and relax.
Well, he's got a 5-point gap now with only
Sit
5
down.
rounds to go, which means Ajamu needs to win every round that we've got
Come on,
left
sit down, baby.
to be in with a chance of a
Give me the
draw.
water. Anybody got the
And
water?
that is the most unlikely scenario I think we'll ever see,
You gotta
Bob,
get
isn't
the
it?
battle, baby.
Yeah, he's very, very
Okay,
frustrated.
stop
It
hitting
took
them
Buddy
low,
McGirt
man.
a few seconds to get him to sit down. He was so agitated. And,
Oh, yes, that was low. And so was that. Yes, he deserved them, Bob, didn't he? They looked deliberate to me.
yeah, maybe it's just a rough. He's trying to rough Jones up. I mean, it's a rough game, and yeah, they were illegal shots, but I'm not sure he needed two deductions.
Well, I hate to disagree with you, but I think he does. Doesn't mean to make me right and you wrong, but he looked like he really did plan to land them low, and they did. Round 8.
I wonder if Buddy McGirt's had enough time to calm Ajamu down.
The problem, of course, we're seeing here, unlike in the first round when Ajamu possibly caught Jones by surprise with that terrific attack, Jones has got better, Ajamu's got worse, and the gap is getting bigger, isn't it?
Yeah, Jones is enjoying himself now and knows he's got a frustrated man in front of him who's tiring a little bit and who's been put off his game plan by the point deductions, by his own fouling, you're right. But Jones has the fight under control at this stage now.
Well, I've got to say, Bob, within the space of 8 rounds, he's gone from prince to pauper.
Yeah, and he's rough with the head now as well. He's been doing that all the way through, but that last one seemed a little bit deliberate as well. So maybe he's just unraveling mentally.
Stop punching.
Yep, anything will do at this stage for Ajamu. Well, we've got it a point closer than that scorecard.
Break! Stop punching. Take a step back.
68-63 for us, and not 69-62.
Work.
More importantly, you know, and it's bigger than the score, I don't think this is a bad performance from Jones.
Work out.
No, he showed there's something left. I'm reminded the way Ray Robinson went on for years afterwards. If you look at the tapes of those later fights, there was flashes of his old brilliance. He knew how to win fights. He just was nothing like the fighter that had dominated the welterweight and middleweight divisions.
But worth mentioning, Bob, that he was still a world-class fighter past his 40s.
Yes, he was, and Jones is, well, we'll see what he's got at a higher level than this, but Ajamu's, you know, higher than him in the world ratings as they stand.
Yes, can you remind us what those are?
WBC 5, WBO 8, IBF 13, and Jones is lower than that. So well, that might tell you something about the people who do the ratings, but it also says that Ajamu has some respect in the trade.
What about the IWBR rankings? There's another low blow there, and again.
Yeah, he's losing it now,
I
isn't
think
he?
He's going to chuck him out, Bob.
One more time.
One more time.
Down in the it went down in the
There was two there.
Point.
Well, he's taken 3 points now.
Point.
And by normal rules, you're right, he should have gone.
Work.
Well, he's given him one more chance. He doesn't want to spoil the spectacle for the fans here. And of course, I think Jerry Armstrong, like the rest of us, would like to see Jones win this one properly. Well, shades of the old Jones there. Speed, reflexes. Lovely.
Yeah, and 10-8 for Jones. And Ajamu complaining again. He's just completely lost his way, hasn't he, mentally?
Yeah, he doesn't want to know anymore.
You guys, I'm not taking away any more punts on low blows.
I'm not going to take away any more points for low blows, says Armstrong, which means the next one is out. So I've got a feeling, Bob, because of his mental unravelling here, he might just go out and hit Jones low just for the hell of it.
He might well do.
That'll get him out of there, won't it? And what it also means, of course, he'll have his a portion of his purse deducted by the state commission, and he's going to have to justify himself to get it back again. So it's a dangerous game.
Yeah, he's not thinking at all, is he? He's not thinking about that. He's just lost his way now. Frustrated, unable to deal with the fight, unable to deal with Roy Jones, unable to deal with the referee.
Time. Stay there. Let's get that water. Stay back.
Round
That's a
9.
goddamn river.
Excess water in that Buddy McGirt corner.
Roy, get back. Time.
So this is round 9, and don't be at all surprised to see Ajamu infringe the rules yet again. Not looking for an early way, an easy way out by any means, don't get me wrong. But anything to get out of there now, he'll take it. He might even be begging to be knocked out at this point.
No, he's still got his pride. I think he'll take a disqualification if it comes, but he wants to go in and have a fight. He's still frustrated. I don't think he's at the point where he's offering himself to be knocked out. I think he's just very, very frustrated.
Yes, you can almost hear him say, "Stand still, Roy, for goodness sake." Well, he could tell his grandchildren one day, "I fought Roy Jones, how'd you get on, Grandad?" Well, I didn't have a bad first round, but that was about it, really. Now, as Bob has said, he's got pride, he's a fighting man. He wants to do well.
The first minute, he has managed to crowd Jones and not allow him to do too much. He's not landed anything himself, but that wasn't too bad a start to the round. Maybe he'll settle down and get himself together and calm it.
You wouldn't say that Ajamu was a great boxer, would you?
No, not at all. He's competent and capable, but you can't expect him to look a great boxer against this kind of Jones, so that he's giving. Jones is pacing himself, using the space when it's there, not worrying when it's not.
All right, Bob, on the spot again, on a level of 1 to 10, how would you rate Jones' performance?
Set against his great days, quite low, but against what some people have expected here, quite high, reasonable.
Okay.
Yes, don't forget there are 2 Roy Jones. In fact, well, now there's 3 Roy Jones. The one who set the world alight, the one who got completely devastated by Tava, and, well, this one.
When he's on the rope, you don't hold his head, okay? That's the second time.
Well, we don't quite know what lies in store for Jones. But he's really a master of his own destiny, Bob, isn't he?
In this fight, at the moment, yes.
But I mean, generally in boxing, because, you know, he's such a draw.
Well, he does his own thing, but he's always done that. And he's... I don't know what he's got at the top level, but he's got enough left to be able to have a good say in the future of the light heavyweight division. Next time he fights, he might be on a bit more than $500,000, which, even if he says that's not important, his bank manager will think it is.
All right, last question on this particular subject. What about Nikolai Valuev?
What, and Roy Jones?
Of course.
Absolutely not. He's too small. No, let's not get carried away.
But don't you think he could buzz around it like a mosquito?
Glenn Johnson knocked him out.
Hold that for me.
Yeah,
Hold
but
that
don't
for me.
forget, I mean, Valuev can't punch.
He's 23 stone, he's almost double the weight.
And he's 7'2".
Yeah, no. Let's concentrate on this one, please. I can't go there.
Okay.
Yeah, another round for Jones anyway.
You have 8 points in front now. So it should be more than that, shouldn't it?
You owe me a few. You got 3 rounds. Try to keep him on. Don't go inside.
Okay. Hey, I got this there. Leon, can you grab his nose?
Well, you're talking about heavyweights. Years ago, Jones thought about going up to fight Buster Douglas and then was persuaded not to. When he did go up, it was against a man he really believed he could beat, John Ruiz. And he knew exactly how to beat John Ruiz. He wasn't silly enough to take on Lennox Lewis or Vitaly Klitschko. He knows what the score is. He's a light heavyweight.
Yes, anyway. Oh, it's worth playing with questions like that. Round 10, home straight. Roy Jones in the green shorts in action here against Prince Badi Ajamu. And Jones well clear. We've got him 8 up with 3 to play.
No talking, guys, no talking. No
Who would you like to see him against, Bob? Assuming he does win this.
I don't mind. Whoever he can fight. I think it's just one fight at a time for him. I really would not like to see Roy Jones get hurt again. And you can't get out of your mind the knockouts against Tava and Johnson, and you can't help but think it will happen again if he takes on somebody who's cute enough to really take him on and hurt him for long enough. Ajamu not quite good enough. No disgrace in that. He's tried hard and he's kept going, and he seems to have got himself under control again now. But no, one fight at a time, please.
Is it conceivable, Bob, that Roy Jones is, he is the kind of character who might just turn around when this one's over and say, right, that's it, I've been there, I've done it, I've proved to myself that I've still got it, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he could well do. I don't think he will.
You cannot just hold those hands out there. You gotta either
What's the referee telling him for?
He's telling him not to extend his arms again.
Goodness me, he told him off for talking about 30 seconds ago. He's getting a little irritating, this character. Jerry Armstrong.
Yeah, don't confuse him with the former Arsenal footballer, sadly no longer with us. But an uncanny resemblance.
Well, Jones just began to look a little bit bored with the whole thing then. He was irritated by the referee, and that's woken him up a little bit. But
it can distract you, can't it?
Yeah, I think that's what happened there. Partly his own fault for chatting when he shouldn't, but that's not a hanging offence, is it?
Of course, the old extended arm comes from the Eastern Bloc countries of 25 years ago, 25 years ago. They all did it. They stuck out one hand and hit you with the other, just to give you a nice measuring range.
That left hook to the body's worked well for him all night, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think it's been a mightily powerful punch, Bob. You?
No, it's just a scoring punch, and it's made Ajamu think about throwing the right hand, so therefore it's done its job.
Take your time, watch the heads, guys.
Yes, absolutely. If you didn't quite understand that, what Bob means is he's so intent on protecting the right-hand side of his body. For one reason, he won't let the right hand go, but secondly, he knows that if he does, he's likely to catch a left hook up the ribs. Oh, that's a nice uppercut, Bob. Oh, he's got him. His legs went there, didn't they?
I'm not sure. He seemed to stumble, but we'll wait and see when they come away from each other again. It may just have been that he was slightly off balance. He doesn't look hurt.
Another round for Jones, though. More precise, once again, more accurate.
Prince, you gotta shoot more on them left hooks. Okay, you gotta let them hands go. Okay.
Well, we've got it 98 and 89. And there is Prince Badi Ajamu. And I thought he got caught for the left uppercut there at the end of the round that made his legs go. And that was the punch, actually, I think. Maybe, maybe not.
Looking good.
And there's no doubt, Jones has got himself in great shape for this, hasn't he? He's fit for 12.
Come on, pull,
Yeah,
man.
and he knows he has to work to make 175, 12 stone 7, but he does it. It doesn't mean that he's not a natural light heavyweight, it just means he has to work for it.
Get the water.
Penultimate round, then round 11 of the scheduled 12. And, well, once again, his arms are slightly extended there. The referee's going to have a pop at him in a second, I should think.
Give credit to Ajamu for calming himself down. He was on the brink there a couple of rounds ago, wasn't he? And he managed to calm himself down and stay in the fight. And, you know, he's doing what he can to rough Jones up. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, that's right. Don't forget, he had 3 points deducted in all for low blows. In round 7, he had 2 taken off. In round 8, he had 1 taken off. And he was so close to being chucked out. But as Bob has said, he's got it all together again.
Stop punching. Let's go, Prince. Let's go. Work.
Constantly looking over at Buddy McGirt for some advice. It's been a frustrating experience, this, I think, for Ajamu. He's heading for his 3rd loss.
Break your tide. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, Prince. 1 step back. You got to take that step back, man. Work.
There must be so many fighters out there, Bob, who want to get in with Jones.
Yes, especially now when he's vulnerable. Not too many perhaps did 5-10 years ago, but now, yeah, there'll be light heavyweights will be saying, yes, please, I'll try. You can hit him now. Yeah, sure, Clinton Woods would have had a rematch with him. And Jones looked very good, and perhaps that was his last top-class light heavyweight performance when he stopped Clinton Woods in September 2002 in Oregon. And Clinton's come on again, and a great success story, become a world champion, and still holds the IBF belt, of course.
Well, that's something that Jones may wish to aim at, and maybe his confidence of beating Clinton once will get him back in. Oh, it's cut. That's a bad cut, isn't it?
Yeah, it was grazed earlier on, but now it's opened up, and the eye's ugly, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't very pretty before the cut, but that's not nice. And of course, Roy Jones, he's that kind of fighter. He'll go for the cut. So even more desperation here for Ajamu from Camden, New Jersey. Well, it doesn't appear to be bleeding too much, Bob, does it?
Sometimes a bad sign, though, isn't it? The flesh seemed to be hanging to one side when I caught a closer look at it. It's nasty, but it's late in the fight. I'm sure he'll get through it.
Yeah, nice round there again for Jones. Much more control.
That was the last round, baby. Water bottle.
Well, 108 plays 97 now.
Nice deep breath. Okay, listen, baby, you gotta go out. You gotta go.
And of course, it was the
round.
point deductions that have led to such a discrepancy between them.
Okay, you can't let him
That
pot
is a
shot you.
nasty cut.
Last round, guys. Touch gloves.
Okay, you can't let him pot shot you.
Here we go again, bit of replay from round 11. That might have been the moment. No, it was done before that.
You gotta go to war with him. Let's go.
Well, I suspect Buddy McGirt's given up long ago on winning this one.
Yeah, I think now it's down to pride for Ajamu to get through the fight and say he went 12 rounds with Roy Jones, and that's something he can always say.
Well, it's something we couldn't do, Bob. Even with our weight.
Goes without saying.
Anyway, this is the 12th and final round,
Break your tie.
and the enigmatic Roy Jones, flash, idiosyncratic, egotistical, you name it. Every adjective you want to throw at this man will probably fit, but the simple fact is, he can box.
Come on, work out. Let's go. Work out, guys. Work out. Let's go. Punch out. Come on, punch out. Break. You're tied. You're tied. You're tied. Break. Let's go. Let's work. Watch the water a little bit.
Abiding memories, Bob, of Roy Jones?
Well, I prefer to remember him from his great days, of course, but it's nice to see him put on an exhibition at the end and show little flashes of what he did have. And yeah, it's good to see him coming through a fight like this, which he should have won. He has won, barring total accidents in the last minute and a half or so. But yeah, there's been enough here to admire for me. He's not what he was, but there's still enough there to say, yeah, we've seen Roy Jones again.
Yes, he's on the cusp, isn't he, of being good and being better. I hesitate to say being good and being great, but being good and being better than good.
Yeah, that's right. He's still got special qualities, and he's more hittable. Not as quick, obviously. His reflexes aren't as sharp, but he knows so much about the business, and he can work the tactics out to beat good, strong fighters like this. And Ajamu's a handful. He'll give other fighters a hard night's work.
Well, Jones, they're talking to someone in the crowd.
Break your time. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, bit ahead there again from Ajamu. And of course, the disaster would be here for Roy Jones if he took one now, because we know he can't take a great punch anymore.
I think Ajamu's just too tired to let them go with any force now. He could prove me wrong, of course, but he just looks so weary that he's defiant, and he's cross almost with Jones, but he's getting there. He's getting through it, and he's just prepared to take what he has to take and say, hey, you couldn't stop me.
Yeah, proud man. Well, Jones still as flash as ever, and it's all over now. It's all over now, and I don't think there's going to be many friendly gestures here from Ajamu.
Well, maybe when he's calmed down, but not for a second or two. He knows the talent he's been in against. He knew that before.
Well, I got it 118, 106, Bob. I don't know how you're seeing it.
118, 107.
Probably my maths that have gone awry, but it doesn't really matter that much. It's an emphatic winner there, Roy Jones, which makes it 14 rounds to 2 when you take in the point deductions. Of course, it's not 14-2, but 3 points were taken away from the scorecard of Prince Badi Ajamu. And these entourages, don't they get up your nose, Bob, sometimes? We are going to hear from Roy Jones, I believe, very shortly.
Surely they'll wait for the decision first, won't they?
Oh, who knows?
Can't have the man celebrating his win before we know that it's there. Not even in Idaho. But But they've enjoyed watching him here, haven't they? And it's good to see somewhere different. And the local promoter was saying he thought they could bring Idaho so far forward they could take on Las Vegas. Well, you're dreaming. But it's good to see big boxing in a different town.
It certainly is. And they've got, of course, they've got a huge name here. It doesn't matter much to people that Jones had lost his last three. He's still Roy Jones, isn't he?
Yep, that's the draw card and the effect of being a superstar for so long. And, yeah, they've calmed down. They're all right with each other now, aren't they?
Yes, no problem. If you're wondering why on earth he's using the end swell on a cut, so am I. That was bizarre, Bob, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just seemed to be worsening the damage, but takes all sorts. There we are.
Well, these people, these 6,000 people can say, hey, I was there. And that, you know, to a lot of people, that's what live sport's all about. That's a big deal. And that cornerman obviously knows nothing about injuries whatsoever. As Bob said, he probably worsened the cut slightly by using the end swell on it. And then you don't put water on a cut either.
Well, the fight's over anyway now, so they'll get him back to the dressing room, patch it up soon. And Ajamu, well, he's 34 years old, but I think there's still some more there for him.
Yes, he's stubborn enough and tough enough to give people a hard time. And Jones did catch him with some pretty neat punches, but didn't really, apart from one occasion, inflict anything that you call damage, Bob, did he?
No, he didn't. Ajamu was never seriously hurt in the fight, and I can't quite understand why they're taking so long to add their scorecards up, but it so often does, doesn't it?
Unfortunately, yes. We're about to get the official verdict. We got 118-106 and 118-107 for Bob.
Normally when they take a long time, it makes me worry, but surely not here.
Oh, Ajamu's won it, surely.
Ladies and gentlemen, for 12 exciting rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards, and we have a unanimous decision. All three judges come to the same score, 119-106 for your winner.
119-106, so one round against Roy Jones. 14 against Ajamu, and of course the new champion, not that it means a hill of beans to us, is Roy Jones Jr. That puts him up for a shot at the WBO championship, I suspect, Bob.
Yep, and that's held by Zsolt Erdei of Hungary, who retained his title earlier this evening in Germany. But whether that'll happen, anybody's guess. Roy Jones will pick his own opponents, never mind about the WBO.
That's right, he's big enough, of course, to make his own mark.